Here's Dave Rubin is saying dumb things again. This time, he argues that he is more at home on the right wing because the right wing has actually gone to the left. Watch this pretzel logic in action.
The left has gone completely bananas, and you cannot argue that the right has done the same thing. The right, you could argue, has moved left. The right, nobody cares about gay marriage anymore. Nobody does. There's no mainstream politician in America that cares about gay marriage. They might have their own personal views on it and religious liberty and their own beliefs, but there's nobody, 8 years ago, there were many Republicans that were running against this, Rick Santorum and Mike Huckabee and a bunch of others. Those guys are gone. Mm-hmm. Trump completely changed that. So if anything, you could argue that the right moved left, and of course you can argue that the left moved way left.
Look, I really think that Dave Rubin needs to have a little bit more time to put his brain in recovery mode because it's not working. It is short-circuited, okay? It's overheating. You can see the smoke coming out from his ears when he's saying, oh, no, it's the right wing that's actually moved left. What? No, this is objectively not true, and I'm gonna prove it. For one, of course, Republicans have moved further to the right, way further to the right than the Democrats who have moved to the left. In fact, there's a study on this. I'm going to show you. This is from Pew Research here. Look, Republicans have moved further to the right than Democrats have to the left. So you see, pretty big shift to the right when it's barely a little bit of a shift to the left. Conservatives have become more conservative. Democrats generally pretty much just the same. But okay, to be fair, we're fair on the show. Look, Dave is specifically talking about the issue of gay marriage, same-sex marriage. Okay. To be fair, 70% of the country thinks that gay marriage is fine. Great. Hey, wonderful. And that includes Republican voters who are like, well, I guess it's okay. It turns out that that the Republicans who are arguing against this were wrong, and that society did not collapse. We still don't like it, but I guess we'll allow them to do that. Okay, all right. Now, here's the thing, right? I don't think civil rights should be a left or right issue. I think it should be a American issue, right? And what do I mean by that? It means that every American should be in favor of more civil rights. And so, now that said, right, there are Republicans, specifically evangelical Republicans, that have been ramping up their culture wars. First against trans people, of course, since they lost in gay marriage, it's shifted over to attacking trans people. And now it still is deeply homophobic. There is still a lot of homophobia in the Republican Party. Now, that said, let me go here to elected Republicans in Virginia, right? As an example. The Republican-controlled House recently defeated measures back in February of this year that would have let voters decide whether to strip legally outdated language banning gay marriage from the state constitution and automatically restore voting rights to felons who have served their terms. So now look, great. Yeah, let's get rid of that outdated language. Again, a majority of voters say that we're fine with same-sex marriage. So, okay, why don't we put it to the people to decide whether we can take that language out? Now, of course, the language, it's not really in effect because we have Obergefell. But if Obergefell were to suddenly disappear, well, then same-sex marriage would be outlawed in Virginia. So now Republicans, I thought they cared about sending it back to people. In fact, that was their entire argument for allowing Roe v. Wade to strip. That's the Supreme Court argument. They're all defending that. Oh, send it back to the states. Send it back to the states. Give it to the people. Let the people decide if they want to have people allow women to have abortions, right? Well, on the issue of gay rights, Dave Rubin says it's settled. It's settled that Republicans fine with gay marriage. All right, then why did all the Republicans vote against allowing people to strip out that language for them to voice their opinion? Weird. In fact, Josh Hetzler, counsel for the Family Foundation of Virginia, warned that this measure would open the door to, quote, polygamy and other types of marriage. So same-sex marriage now suddenly the same as polygamy and other types of marriage, which I think is kind of ironic because Tennessee had tried to pass a bill allowing for child marriage until they got called out and caught and all that. So it seems like seem to be in favor of other types of marriage, but just not the gay kind. Nice slippery slope too, by the way. Now, that said, a lot of critics from the right wing say that the left has been arguing with the slippery slope, saying, oh, well, just because we're going after and stripping abortion rights from millions of women and, LGBT folks as well that have uteruses, well, that doesn't mean we're going to come after Obergefell. You guys are crazy. You crazy lefties. You thinking we're coming after the ads? No, of course, we're not interested. No. Now, Business Insider recently spoke with a dozen Republican senators, asking each of them whether they believe the draft opinion on Roe threatens marriage equality and whether they would support overturning Obergefell. None of them gave a clear yes or no answer, and several outright declined to comment. In fact, they asked Republican Senator Mike Braun of Indiana. You remember Mike Braun, right? The guy who is let the states decide interracial marriage. That guy who's not in favor of black people marrying white people and, all the other different things like that. Oh, it should be left up to the states, guys. He's told Insider that he had no idea whether Obergefell could be overturned or not. He argued that the case was, quote, a narrow consideration just on an issue that's been contested for like 49 years. Right. Okay. And then added, I'm not going to wade into any of that. He said with a laugh, asked whether he would support outlawing same-sex marriage. Josh Hawley was also asked about this. He said he'd be shocked and chagrined if Obergefell was also overturned because, unlike with abortion, he says, there's little popular appetite to revoke same-sex marriage rights. I'll get to that in a minute. That's wrong. Here's what he said. Here's his quote. I think that Obergefell was wrongly decided. And you're going to hear a lot of this, by the way. I've already heard Ben Shapiro, for example. Oh, yeah, I'm against, I think Obergefell was a really bad decision. But that said, you're a lunatic if you think that they're actually, the Supreme Court is going to take away gay rights, even though I think that they totally should. It's almost as if they're giving up the game here. But here's more of his quote. I think at this point, it is also settled law. I'm not aware of any concerted effort to get Obergefell overturned, and I don't think that this opinion will result in that happening. I'd be shocked if that happened. I just don't see it. Here's Republican Senator Ted Cruz saying to Insider that Roe v. Wade was a uniquely divisive decision, in contrast to same-sex marriage, which enjoys broad support. Now, do you know how many Americans support same-sex marriage? That's 70%. Again, the majority of the country. So, yeah, they're right in oh, yeah, of course, not a divisive issue, same-sex marriage, of course. Yeah, we're all fine with that, even though we disagree. But we're totally fine with it. Well, you know how many people think that we should continue to have Roe v. Wade? Turns out roughly 70% of adults surveyed say the decision to get an abortion should not be made by lawmakers, but left to the pregnant woman and her doctor. Huh, wait, 70% of Americans support same-sex marriage. 70% of Americans think that the decision to have an abortion should be between the doctor and a woman. Wait a minute. That seems like it's really the same. Huh. But okay, but how's an abortion, how's that issue more divisive then? It appears that they're not exactly being honest, are they? No, of course not. And by the way, going back to Josh Hawley, when he said, I'd be shocked if that happened. I just don't see them going after Obergefell. I just don't see it. Well, how many right-wingers also have said the same thing about Roe? How many conservatives said, oh, no, it's established precedent. Of course we're not going to challenge that. It's the law of the land. Oh. Maybe people like, I don't know, Brett Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett, you know, the very Supreme Court justices, Neil Gorsuch, who have now decided to overturn, if the draft is right, and look, everything that I know says that it is, if the draft is correct, those are the same people who are now going to overturn Roe, who said, oh, you know, it's decided, it's the law of the land, what are you going to do? Oh, I'm not going to challenge that. Oops. No, it's a sleight of hand. That's what they're doing. Of course they're being dishonest. They're lying to you. We know exactly what they're doing. No, and again, they've been telegraphing this. And their attacks against trans people, calling everyone who is an LGBTQ plus teacher a groomer, the Don't Say Gay bill in Florida, you know, banning books that mention LGBTQ lifestyles. What do you think that leads up to? Yeah, it's the eventual overturning of Obergefell. But I think the left that's doing that. No, it's the right wing. It's the right wing that continues to be more and more extreme. And by the way, if you don't believe me, okay, if you're like, whatever, lib, you're not a free thinker like Dave Rubin. Well, let me show you a video here of just how some members of the right think about their friend Dave Rubin, who, by the way, is going to become a parent through surrogacy. And that's generally a wonderful thing. But no, here's what Lauren Witzke and her friend think about this.
Just see what they said about that pedophile couple that are trafficking kids. What's her name again?
Are you talking about Dave Rubin?
Oh, Dave Rubin. That's it. Yeah, Dave Rubin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming soon, baby one. Where did they steal this kid from? That's two men.
Well,
two men are gay.
Yeah,
they can't have kids.
It's got to pop out first, and then that's when they snatch them.
Oh, that's when they steal it.
Yeah,
okay.
That's when they steal it. But that's like plotting a crime right there. So somebody should probably do something about that.
Sheriff Opile? Should we call Sheriff Opile? Someone needs to deal with this.
We should call somebody, because I have a kidnapping in process, you know.
Seriously, look, what is he crying for? Is he crying because he got away with it almost? Look at this. These two men who cannot reproduce, the only thing they can reproduce and create is more debauchery and AIDS.
Those ain't leftists. No, those are right-wingers. Look, again, what should be an incredibly happy time in Rubin's life, well, it won't be, because he's surrounded by people like this. And by the way, he defends this. He defends people that hate his very being. Called him a pedophile. And of course, there are others. He says, no, look, behind the scenes, privately, a lot of people were very, very happy about this wonderful change in my life. Oh, why is it private, Dave? It's because they can't say anything? publicly. Some did. To be fair, Megyn Kelly, I think, said something about that. Okay, all right. So there are some legitimately not hateful conservatives out there that are not anti-gay. But then you have a lot of people in that party there that agree with these people who say that they're stealing babies. That's the side that Dave Rubin thinks is more to the left, that has moved to the left on same-sex rights. Enjoy your new friends, Dave, and your money, and your nice house. You've earned it.